sure. We're excited to be here. It's great to be back in Portland. Time has flown. We were just here, it seemed like 3 years ago. And great to be back with this year's team. A terrific challenge on our hands with Ohio State tomorrow. We're excited about that. And our guys, really practiced with good energy earlier today, and excited about getting out to the open practice in a little while.
Once again, just a reminder, please identify yourselves before asking a question.
Thanks, Scott.
Mitch Carr, 8 News in Richmond. Coach, 3 years ago it was Portland. Last year it was San Diego. You're in Portland again. And even when it wasn't a West Coast trip in the first round, you were in Detroit. When the bracket comes out, do you ever go, my God, can we get a game in Maryland, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, anywhere?
Well, that's out of your control. We're excited about, number one, being in the NCAA tournament. We're excited about having an opportunity here in Portland. We don't really get caught up in where we might go before the pairings are announced. And then after they're announced, it's typically a quick turnaround. So we just have to turn the page and get on to what's next. So, again, we're really excited about the opportunity. We're not thinking for 1 second about, this. It should be here, it should be there. We're here, and we're looking forward to the opportunity tomorrow.
Paul Keels from WBNS Radio in Columbus. Coach, if you would talk just about your thoughts about the Ohio State basketball team, what you see, and also your time in the state of Ohio and what that meant to you.
Well, to answer your first question, we've obviously watched Ohio State quite a bit over the last few days. And then, before that, got a chance to see them a handful of times in a more casually just watching Big Ten basketball. I grew up in Madison, Wisconsin. As you mentioned, I spent 9 years of my life in Ohio. So, I've been someone that's been familiar with or followed their program for a long, long time, going back to Jimmy Jackson and those great teams. I think they've got a terrific group of guys, a good mix of experience and also youth. Russell is as dynamic as a guard as there is in college basketball. He's obviously going to be a phenomenal player at the next level, but for right now, he's one of the best in all college basketball, not just at scoring, but at making plays for his teammates and the way that he does it so efficiently. But I think their team's a whole lot more than him. They've got a lot of other factors that you have to, as a coach in scouting, weigh in, and you got to have your guys ready for. I think particularly Scott and Thompson as seniors have gotten better and better over the course of their career, and are guys that are very, very dangerous. Tate and Loving are both guys that, in different ways can really, really hurt you. And then their bigs are big and strong and active. So, we got to account for those guys as well.
Up here in front first.
Bob Baptist from the Columbus Dispatch. Two-part question, Shaka. First, how does a kid from Madison find Gambier, Ohio? And the second part is, and I asked your players about it, you've obviously, since the Final Four, had a lot of opportunities to go to bigger programs. I just wondered what has kept you staying at VCU?
Well, in answer to your first question, the reason that I ended up at Kenyon College in Gambier, Ohio, was the basketball coach. Bill Brown recruited me. He came to Madison a couple times to come see me, and I just developed a really good relationship with him. He was a father figure for me as a kid that grew up in a single-parent home. Unfortunately, he left after my freshman year, but by that time, I'd been at Kenyon for a year. I really enjoyed it there. I'm somebody that doesn't really like change, so I didn't leave. I stuck with it and had a great 4 years there. While I was there, I would read the Columbus Dispatch every day, and I remember reading about Michael Redd and Scooney Penn and the great teams that those guys had. Really we were like 45, 50 minutes away, but in terms of basketball, we were a world away because that was Big Ten basketball, and I was playing Division III. So I followed their team really closely and, looked up to those guys because they were terrific players. Second question was about me staying at VCU. I get that question a lot. I enjoyed it at VCU. It's a school where basketball matters quite a bit, and we enjoy the opportunity to coach our guys every day and be around them and help them get better on and off the court. Obviously, most of the attention is paid to winning or losing, and I understand that's how it works, but I enjoy all around everything about the opportunity at VCU, and also the support that we have there is very, very good.
Shaka, John Branch from the New York Times. 4 years ago when you guys made your run and you seemed to sort of explode from nowhere, now 4 years later, I kind of wonder how your life has changed. I mean, he mentioned you've turned down other opportunities. Without that run 4 years ago, would things be different, or are there some ways, tangible, intangible ways, that things changed for you and for the program because of what happened then?
Well, I don't think my life would be a whole lot different just in terms of the way I live my life, but again, you're judged by winning and losing, and especially in March, if you're able to have success, there's opportunities that come your way. I think our program has certainly been enhanced quite a bit by the trip to the Final Four, and some of the success that we've had since then. We've been able to upgrade certain components of our program, which are really important. In terms of me personally, it hasn't been a big change. Just go about my job the same way. Hopefully, I go about my life the same way. I have a daughter now that I did not have when we went to the Final Four, so that's probably been a much bigger change personally.
There and then there.
Paul Woody, Richmond Times-Dispatch. Shaka, a lot's being made of what you guys have to do to counter DeAngelo Russell. But it seems to me the question might also need to be asked, what does Ohio State have to do to counter what you guys can do on offense, particularly if Mel is shooting well, if Doug Brooks is shooting well, if Trevion's getting to the basket, and Mo is doing what he did on the boards as he did in the A-10 tournament?
Well, I think that probably be a better question for their coaching staff, but for us, we just focus on what we need to do well, and I think you just mentioned a lot of it. I think playing with a level of freedom and attacking on the offensive end, getting high-quality shots, and then it's up to our guys to step up with confidence and shoot the ball in, making sure we share the basketball. Ohio State has a very active defensive team. They've got a lot of guys that can get their hands on the basketball, so we've got to be strong and take care of it. We've got to value it. We've got to make the extra pass. And then, just being crisp in our execution. And if we're able to do those things, then I think that puts us in position to put some points on the board. What Ohio State needs to do to us, that's up to Ohio State. But, we just need to focus on playing our style of basketball.
Adam Kilgore with the Washington Post. To follow up on your answer about Kenyon College, you mentioned that your coach left after your freshman year. Did that experience have an influence on your choice to stay at VCU throughout the opportunities you've been given?
That experience had an influence on my life in general. It was one of the worst days of my life, to be honest with you, and it really shook me up because he, as I mentioned, he was a region that I went there, and the main. He was a father figure for me. But, it's been a long time since then. I think, what you do, I'm the same as any other coach or, for that matter, any other person in any other line of work. You owe it to your family to do the right thing for your family and do what you think makes the most sense for the people closest to you. I consider, as coaches, I consider us to be really close to our players, so obviously, they're a big factor in any type of decisions that we make. I enjoy the fact that I've had opportunity to be around, for instance, Briante Weber, Travion Graham, Jared Guest, our three seniors, from the recruiting process all the way through now their last NCAA tournament and in a couple months graduation. So I enjoy that. As an assistant, I never really got that. I moved around a lot as an assistant, and I was with kids for a couple years or a year or 3 years. So, I enjoy the fact that we've had some continuity here.
Right here in the great sweater first. He's been waiting for a while. No, wrong one. Back behind. He's had his hand up for 3 minutes. No, you. Okay. So we've had time for about 2 more questions. We're kind of up on 2 o'clock here. Okay, go ahead.
Antonio Gonzalez with the Associated Press. As you guys have been in the tournament now year after year consistently, do your players come into this any differently with any more confidence, no longer maybe as an underdog type of feel, more like you belong here?
Well, hopefully the experience is good for us, for our older guys that they've been in the NCAA tournament. I do think that any year when you make the NCAA tournament, I think there's a level of healthy nervousness that comes along with it, even if you've played in it before. And I think our guys will experience some of that. But, for our seniors, for our juniors, they've been in this situation before quite a bit. For our seniors, they've literally been here before in Portland. So certainly I think that can be an advantage just in that, hopefully they can draw on those experiences. But at the end of the day, whichever team plays better is a team that's going to win and advance, and our guys know that. The basketball game is still based on all the same concepts that any other game is based on. It just happens to be on this big stage.
Joseph Duarte, Houston Chronicle. This is kind of piggybacking off of the enhancements to your program from your run a few years ago. It would seem this time of year that a lot of success is based off of bigger budget programs, bigger schools. But with that said, what you guys did a few years ago, the George Masons of a few years back, Butler, is there a recipe, I guess, so to speak, of having success or being able to compete on that level without some of the resources that the other schools have?
Well, the resources give you a better opportunity, certainly in recruiting, and you want to provide for your players the best possible experience on and off the court over a 4-year stretch that they can have, and that's one thing that we've tried to do at VCU is continue to enhance the experience, both for our current student athletes and also in recruiting. But you asked if there's a formula. I think it's you want to put together a group of guys that can be highly connected around a common goal. I think one thing that we lose sight of sometimes, hopefully, when I say we, hopefully not our coaching staff, but sometimes in college basketball or people that follow or cover it, it is a team sport. There's so much attention paid to individuals, but it comes down to whichever team is better. And I think for our guys, we've tried to hammer the point home that we must be connected around our team goals, and that has to supersede anything individual. So that's what happened in the case of those teams that you mentioned, whether it was Butler or George Mason or whoever it was. The other thing that those teams had, typically if it was a mid-level team going far in the tournament, is they had a level of experience. They had some older guys that have been there before. For our team, we kind of have a mix of some older guys. We do play a lot of younger guys, especially after Briante Weber got injured. But they're gaining experience as the season goes along, and we're excited about this opportunity to see what all of our guys can do.